There's a ton of credit coupons up for grabs, but you'd have to beat the undefeated champion to get them.
Oh? I'll give it a shot then.
Alone?
What, don't think I'm up to it?
Greetings, chefs, and welcome back to the kitchen for another Genshin Impact Genius Invocation TCG guide. Today we'll be cooking up a pot punishment with Wriothesley, giving you the good old 1-2 knuckle sandwich combo. If you're new to the first impression series, basically what we do here is I review the entire character's kit, any tips and tricks that you need to know, and deck building so you can use your favorite character in the TCG. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, but be sure to leave a like and subscribe as these videos take a lot of effort. And also, I left in some bonus matches because I am going to be gone for a few days. But with that out of the way, on to the first bout. Let's go, baby. Got lots of matches today for y'all. Let's take a look-see here what we got. We got 5 matches over here. We're gonna do 4 of them, but let's go into the first one with a very classic Wriothesley, Shenhe, and Raiden. And I'll talk a little bit more about why we picked this deck and etc. And you know, it's a pretty flexible deck. You know, I'm sure one that you all will be very familiar with since you know you played it so much. But of course, Wriothesley himself is the star of the show, so let's get started with him. He's a catalyst character, so he's going to have an infused normal attack, but only 1 damage, but of course that is going to be greatly boosted, as I'm sure who all you're familiar with Wriothesley. I'm just going to let the game do its thing because this is a long one. A lot of these are actually quite long, but yes. So the main deal of Wriothesley's kit is going to be the Ice Fang Rush, which is your elemental skill. You'll place 3 dice, and it costs 2 cryo. You deal 2 cryo damage, and then you'll gain Chilling Penalty state. Chilling Penalty is a status that will be right below here, and it has no cooldown. It just has 2 usages. And the Chilling Penalty, whenever a character uses a normal attack, if this character has at least 6 HP remaining, this skill will cost 1 less cryo dice, and then deals +1 damage and deals 1 piercing damage to yourself. If the character is no more than 5 HP, deal +1 damage and heal the character for once the skill is finalized for 2 HP. Now, to just chunk rate all that jargon down, it's a lot of hoopla, and the TCG has a lot of words, to be specific, right? Of course, but basically your normal attacks will deal it'll deal bonus damage, and it'll also cost 1 less cryo dice, but additionally you will take that 1 piercing so long as you're above 6 HP. And if you ever fall below this 5 HP threshold, you'll deal +1 damage still, but you'll also heal the character for 2 HP. So if you're up above, you're going to take damage, and if you're below, you're going to heal yourself for a little bit of damage. Really nice, really simple stuff in that stuff in Wriothesley's kit, and continuing on, and it makes it especially with the fact that keep in mind a lot of characters so far in the TCG have reduced a different kind of dice, which is being the unallied dice on your normal attacks right here, right? But the big thing about Wriothesley is that he reduces the cryo dice, so you get to attack for free, and we're gonna see that in action in just a little bit as we go through the match. But the last thing I want to talk about before we move on from Wriothesley himself is his Dark Gold Wolfbite Burst, and I especially want to talk about it because they made it way too confusing with how they worded it. At least I don't really like how they worded it here, but yes, let's go keep yapping. Let's go move on to that. It is going to be you're going to deal 2 cryo damage. It's also, by the way, it's 3 energy, and then you're going to gain a little status below you. It's called Lingering Icicles, and then whenever this happens, basically once it's the opponent's turn, before they choose an action, they will take a 2 cryo damage. So if you're familiar with something like Yeimiya has basically the same burst, except she does way more damage. But of course, that doesn't mean that this one's bad, because it has a very special ability baked into it, which is where I think the wording is a little silly. It's this thing right here. There really should be a space here. When this character takes damage or is healed 2 times in total this round, this skill will cost 1 less elemental dice and cost up to 2, and cost can be reduced to up to 2. So basically what that means is that Wriothesley's whole thing, being a Fontanian and also part of his Ice Fang Rush, is that he can reduce the cost of his burst from 3 to 1 just off of healing and stuff. And man, it gets crazy the stuff you can pull out, because here's the thing: a lot of people say, oh, 2 and 2 damage, separated, that's not that good. But the thing is that it costs 1 dice, dude, after you do at least 2 normal attacks. You can also have it's healing on the side. It's really strong, man. And you were gonna see you know, throughout the matches that, you know, how far Wriothesley can take you know, his dice producing potential. I really wish we had the dice display down here, you know, because I never record my matches live because, you know, they take a while and stuff, but you'll see just how low the dice can go. We'll keep a track of the dice counter on here, but yeah, that's the basics of Wriothesley's kit, you know. And right here we're going to be using him you know, in a very classic Shenhe SC deck, which, you know, Raiden is going to give you burst, and then Shenhe, of course, herself can give you you know, the cryo damage bonus, which Wriothesley can take a decent advantage of. Of course, you know, not too dissimilar to the main game is that, you know, Shenhe, you know, has a limit for how long she can boost her cryo damage. So Wriothesley can, you know, use it for a little bit. Of course, burst is going to increase that uptime, but, you know, we will get there once we're there. Now, another thing that Raiden helps out with, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is that Wriothesley has a 3 energy burst. So as much as it's really cool to have Dark Gold Wolfbite only costs 1 cryo dice, you of course need that energy, and it needs to come from somewhere. So that's why I decided, hey, let's try the classic, you know, something that everyone's familiar with. I think it'll do a pretty good job at it. But yes, I'm gonna go ahead and pass over one of our newest artifacts. Like a pause here to read it. It is the new Marechaussee Hunter, and the only difference is that these 2 conditions are the same. And then once you go all the way to the 4th time that you get healed or take damage, you'll create another elemental dice. And this is super good once again for Wriothesley because, you know, he's just kind of the guy you know, who takes damage and gets healed. So whoop-de-doo, you're gonna do a lot of that, my friends. Now we're getting to the point where I start popping off with Wriothesley here. Here we go. I put MMR in the mix, and then I start healing for treasure. There we go. That's 1. And I currently don't have any Ice Fang Rush active, so we're just going to go ahead and throw on now. Already dealing 4 damage out of the gate just from the elemental skill. Super duper nice. And now they're going to start moving around, trying to avoid the kill. But here we go. You know, another Icy Quill consumed. Then I also get to deal, you know, 4 damage cryo normals. My goodness. You know, at this rate, we'll see what happens with the dice production here. I take another normal attack, you know, rip off the Lotus, get that out of here. Wriothesley doesn't want no defense, and there we go. 1 cryo dice for the burst, and because I have a boost right now from Shenhe, it deals 3, and then the second bar, boom, that's 3. I even misplayed to not even equip the Gamblers there, but now, you know, Wriothesley once again showing what he can do. I tune everything, get another Ice Fang Rush in, and now both my normals, I can all do a 2 and 2. So here we go. I have Covenant, costs 0 cryo dice, and in fact 1 more because I hold it at 1 more charge of MMR. Boom, can deal another one Kokomi. Let's play treasure. Boom, now I have another dice and another one. Let's go for it. And then we get Gamblers in so I can get the Gamblers extension. Boom, Kokomi's down thanks to the boost, and I can do it again with no cryo dice, and now we're out of dice. But hey, Dark Gold Wolfbite costs 1 dice. I win. GG's. My goodness, what a silly deck, right? Wriothesley is just gonna, you're gonna see throughout this video that I'm just gonna keep consistently popping off with stuff like that. And you know, Raiden Shenhe is one of the most simple you know, comps that you can run. And keep in mind that, you know, what I was worried about is that Wriothesley is gonna be a little bit backloaded you know, to this extent. And I used just Shenhe and Raiden because they're, you know, the most familiar pairing. But the thing is that I know a lot of people are interested in other characters in TCG, right? You have Bennett, you have Furina, who can also provide very amicable buffs. And the thing is that I think, you know, with that deck as a baseline, you know, get creative and pick the characters that you want to play, but these are going to be your 3 characters you know, who are going to be the most viable you know, in boosting up Wriothesley, you know, healing and punching playstyles. But yeah, on to the next match where we have something a little bit of a different archetype and very in character for the man himself. Next on the list of Wriothesley's decks is going to be the Freeze Lockdown, a very familiar deck, and I'm very surprised you know, I actually didn't pick this up as soon as, you know, Wriothesley came out. I think mostly because it was a little too stuck on playing a different kind of list. But yes, this is the Freeze Lockdown deck, or Lockout as you may have originally known it, because it was Mona, Kazuha, and Senora in the spot. But the biggest problem with Senora is that A, she didn't run treasure very smoothly, and also secondarily, you know, she didn't deal enough damage on of her own, you know, even in Pyro form to really close out games. It was still an okay deck, you know, but it just wasn't amazing, you know, especially to keep up with all the treasure shenanigans we had from last patch. But yes, the basics of it is that Mona into Kazuha, and then you have your cryo carry, and everybody is hit with Hydro, and we're about to see Wriothesley put some people in the slammer, baby. We'll see it next turn. But yes, this is, you know, one of the decks where after you do this, right, you know, and we'll see it during the match, that you have to adapt from there, because, you know, you get rid of all your cryo fire auras, and how are you gonna freeze? It's not a good idea, right? Especially nowadays, especially with someone like Yunjin, who can deal a lot of damage to your characters, even with Wriothesley's healing and especially his piercing self damage. He's gonna hit critical HP super duper fast, so you gotta watch out for that, my friends. But yes, here's as I'm gonna let the match go on, we're gonna see Wriothesley kind of do his thing. I'll talk about it right here. I want to dive into more of the interesting intricacies of Wriothesley himself. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and drop some magic so I can get a little extra dice. Here we go. Lock him down. Freeze. I really wish I could play Lumenstone, but it's just quite not viable. Actually, funnily enough, this was a deck I struggled a lot with. I kept bricking and not getting Lumenstone in the first few rounds, and I'm like, man, I cannot get my dice, because this is a treasure deck, right? Treasure sitting right here, and it's just non-existent. So yeah, here's where I'm talking about the adaptation. They move and move around. I have no dice to speak of, so I need to move to Kazuha, to not let Yunjin get a free kill, because she's got Primordial Jadewing Spear. She can also increase her damage with discard. You gotta watch out for that stuff, man. But yeah, I'm gonna let the match kind of go on and roll from here. But one of the interesting things I found about Wriothesley is that, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because Wriothesley almost feels inseparable from Treasure, because his entire kit is based around, especially this segment, right, the Dark Gold Wolf Bite, is sort of the healing or taking damage, right? And it's been really hard. Even I tried like something like Fontaine Res, I tried the Chef Mao and Shudong engine, and that still wasn't really a viable way to keep Wriothesley all the way not only healed but also continuing his combo. He has the dice reduction, costing one dice, and then also wanting that healing all the time. It's not like I can put 6 sweet madams into my deck. So I did try a lot of things. That's why it took a little bit of an extra day to get this video out, because I'm like, I really want to give you guys something that isn't just Treasure, which is not saying that it's a bad thing. Treasure is, there's a reason for it to exist. There's also a reason it has a 2 elemental dice cost, but I wanted to give you something different. So I do have one bonus deck list at the end of the video, which it does have Treasure, but it's way more similar to the Raiden and Raiden plus buffer list, or Raiden Shenhe list, where it's gonna be an OTK. You're just gonna hammer slammer, but it's gonna be a little more fun. It's from Mr. Pillow, actually one of the Prince Cup players, so we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. But yes, as we go on through the match here, but yeah, I felt that he was a little inseparable from Treasure, and we'll kind of see how that affects him in the future. I could also definitely see Wriothesley being played in stall, but we'll kind of see, right? Because he has this whole setup here, and then if he's able to successfully spread Hydro to everyone, I think Furina would be a great pick for stall. She's something that I'm gonna take a lot more time to cook, so that way I can give you guys a more definitive team. So this is what I was talking about at the end. We have to wait for the match to go through, because it is a long one. Despite all of this, here we go, doing some stuff in here. I do believe, yeah, it costs 3, so this thing refreshes every round, so keep that in mind. You gotta have that form of healing. I've been unable to properly make use of Lumenstone and the extra dice, so I'm having a bit of a struggle here. Even if my opponent is totally frozen, they can just totally pop off and whack me right back. Zhongli's at 2 energy, Yunjin's got her stuff. But yeah, overall, when it comes to stuff like this, I think this is kind of the best way I can put Wriothesley. There might be some other shenanigans you can do, but I think him plus backloaded buffer, which backloaded means like it's gonna happen around like round 3, or you need to give him something before he can deal a lot of damage, or something like this combo list is kind of the best he's got. Maybe stall, let your imagination run wild when you want to play your favorite characters, right? But pretty much from here, we're just kind of doing our thing, making sure we stay alive, or make sure at least minimum keep Wriothesley alive, because like the Senora one, once you lose your main carry, it's very difficult for these two to make it out all the way. Even if Kazuha himself doesn't deal amazing personal damage, it's just a 3/3, and then sometimes an infusion, and then yeah, Mona just wah, she's gone. So yeah, and now we're getting into a bit of a tricky situation. Zhongli has Meteor locked and loaded, so I actually have to wait, because don't underestimate Zhongli. Here's our little tip of the day, is that it locks you out of literally everything. It's literally a freeze. So you know, Zhongli is a great end game closer, and you got to watch out for stuff like that. So here I do a little bit of a tech. I used rhythm into playing the Marechaussee Hunter because it does cost 3 dice. It's quite expensive, and that way I use treasure to regain a dice and increase my dice economy, you know, and force everything to proc, right? The whole game plan of this deck. So it's really, you know, something that you can keep in mind. You know, if you're ever playing Marechaussee Hunter or Veterans Visit from the last patch, you know, try to do stuff like that so that you can keep cycling dice forward. It's pretty useful. So here we go, and now I use Covenant, and then I do that, and now not only do I draw another treasure, I also gain another dice. There we go, and then we got Gamblers, and then I treasure again, and it's just enough for me to finish the job. You know, it's very difficult to calculate. Always, you know, Kazuha has a little bit of a difficult time calculating Gamblers, but put it on top of him if, you know, this 3 damage is going to kill, and then you can swap to the next character and you still have your artifact intact. No need to worry about that, and we still have a little bit of room to do stuff. And unfortunately, Wriothesley does fall here, but you know, he's done, you know, a good amount of his job. I think the lockdown stage of that deck definitely cooked you know, Zhongli alive, to be honest. It was very difficult for, you know, them to do anything, right? Because, you know, they had a whole turn of just nothing. And, you know, ideally, if the turn was a little faster, right, I got treasure a little earlier, I got the, you know, cards that I wanted, Wriothesley would just knock everybody out. And that's kind of the amazing thing about him. I'm really impressed by, you know, what they did with Wriothesley, because I've been expecting, you know, something pretty generic, like, oh, reduce, you know, like maybe your like unaligned dice, but they went all the way in and just made it so they reduced his elemental die cost, which, you know, I kind of call Wriothesley like the Linny of the TCG. Of course, maybe that's not entirely accurate. You know, it may be more accurate to call him sort of Ayaka of the TCG, which I do worry about Ayaka, you know, maybe no longer having a place thanks to Wriothesley. Even without treasures, you know, he's still going to do, you know, pretty respectable damage, you know, for it. But hey, the very rare Kazuha W is coming in. You know, Zhongli tosses his meatball, but Kazuha says, no, I don't react with your element. You know, Geo is non-existent, and then, you know, I'm still stuck here, so I gotta wait, you know, let them do their thing. They got a little bit of damage, but, you know, what would have won them here is the you know, 5 cost right here into this and this, because it deals a lot of damage, but they have no cards to tune. So I make it out just by a little bit. And I do believe they actually concede here, which completely understandable. Good game to them. You know, it's quite fun to do this. But yeah, this freeze lockout, you know, another version of the deck you can play. But yes, but yeah, that's gonna do it for the guide segment of this video on Wriothesley. You know, pretty much my opinions on the whole thing is that he's a very strong normal attacker support, and I think he'll pretty much overtake most of the other cryo characters, to be honest. But he really does need you know, that form of on-demand healing. You know, treasure card is super duper essential to him. Food can sometimes work, you know, feel free to cook that, but it's going to be you know, just keep in mind you're going to struggle a little bit, but you know, never let struggling limit your creativity and deck building. But overall, yeah, he's a really strong normal attacker. You know, needs that on-demand healing, and I do wonder how much he'll change over time, you know, as the TCG sort of evolves, because, you know, treasure will not stay forever. We'll see, you know, as the, you know, time moves on and stuff. But yeah, feel free to use any of the buffers, you know, especially someone like Furina, you know, Bennett, Shenhe, any of those, or, you know, play the freeze version. That also works great. You know, anything that, you know, you want to do with your good old Mr. Wriothesley, you know, send your foes flying into this atmosphere. Almost a French Panther. Whoa. But anyways, yes, let's move on to the deck list segment of the video. So here are the 3 deck lists, and there's that bonus one that I am going to be showing later in the other match, you know, once we get to that as a bonus. It's the combo OTK. You know, you just you Yelan, you Yoimiya, and then your Wriothesley. You know, if you have time to do both bursts, cool. If you don't, whatever, no bad, so sad. But yes, I am going to be gone for a few days, so I am leaving you guys with that bonus deck list to make sure that you guys have something to look at. And, you know, if you guys want to comment about a character that you want me to do, you know, faster, just leave it in the comments below. Just keep in mind, of course, that these, you know, these videos go based on the fact that if I'm confident with the character, or, you know, we figured out, you know, certain text with them, then I'm okay with like publishing a video about that. But yeah, just, you know, feel free if you want to leave a comment about that. But yes, we do all the other stuff over here on the main channels and stuff. We got Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and on GITCG I might do a stream this weekend for our tournaments, which you sign up for, by the way, if you want to get in on the TCG deck building craze. But yeah, that's gonna be all from me, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
time to pull the trigger. Gotcha. Game's up. Fun's over. Gears of the storm! How was I so...
This is destiny.
Yeah, I'll do my best, but can't guarantee a victory. A moment, please.
It is as the stars foretold. Written in the stars. Shadows of fate. Let me scroll. The stars are fading.
Sounds good to me. In wind. The stars are fading.
Instead of going big, yes.
Sounds good to me. Into the wind. One with wind and cloud. Into the wind.